Greetings everyone. Today I would like to wish you a happy new year. The goal of this video is basically to this wish a happy new year. When you're running a YouTube channel, of course, you have to somehow this celebrate these important dates like. I'm okay with the Christmas, and so yeah, I guess that's why I'm going to make this lame video. I have brought my this toast. It's 2 or 3 days early to 2016, the new year. Maybe since this, I don't want to make this video so short. So maybe I'll talk about the year 2015. It seems year 2015 was a year of a immigrant crisis, and also this USA, the gun violence was quite this. Loud, this everywhere, everyone is talking, and immigrant crisis. Here in Mongolia, there was nothing new. This was a year of a sheep, and this year I wanted to focus on crafting, this drawing, doing something, and etc. etc. But I wasn't, this having great success. For example, making a deal was a little bit, this disastrous because I'm not a good showing. There was a little bit artwork and metal working, but not so impressive, something like that. So one person asked why you randomly wear your, this Mongolian hat. Well, according to our, these traditions, if you are respecting someone, you have to wearing your hat. When there's a visitor, elder people is like, "Where is my hat?" And they are like this. It means it's we share it with some, this Turks and Middle Easterners, like this. You have to be wearing your hat in order to like respect the guests, people that is visiting you, something like that. So it's not this big reason why I this wear my hat. Maybe the reason is a little bit lame. Maybe I'm a little bit this how to say, theatrical. Theatrical, and also I'm a little bit this shamed by my short hair. It's strange. When I'm having this long hair, I'm usually this quite confident, but when I have this short hair, I'm like not so confident, something like that. But people usually advise me that long hair is this less hygienic, it's hard to maintain, it's dirty, smelly, and fallen hair is like everywhere. Well, speaking of this Middle Easterners, etc., etc., you must know that some of the Mongolians are from the Middle East, and they brought the this faith in Hormosta, the Lord of the Ring. So I like when these people still stick to their this old stuff, and the things that I'm this promoting on internet is of course our so-called traditional way, but unfortunately this traditional way is I know that this is a little bit this foolish path, or simply it feels like I'm wasting my time like for nothing. I cannot be like, this strong, the shining star of a faith and something like that. I noticed that, this when Mongolians are on YouTube, usually news, gaming, or this comic, this entertainment or music channels have a lot of views. And when someone is like on internet and preaching about this random stuff, they usually have less subscribers, something like that. Yeah. When I think about this Christian church, like there is over 200 of them in Mongolia. Um, um, I sometimes feel I'm this okay with it, because when you look at this, some Mongolians, they do not have this um, some kind of this motivation, the religious motivation or cultural motivation to accomplish something, or to live by these these principles, and etc, etc. So here in Mongolia, the thing that always constantly here is the poverty. You can, this in 2012, I was like playing these computer games and posting it on the internet, and of course there was this much this important topic is poverty in Mongolia 2012. Poverty in Mongolia 2013, poverty in Mongolia 2014, and even now if you search poverty in Mongolia 2015, you will find video. Still, poverty is still here, and you will notice that it's this, it's kind of this solve-able problem, this some economic problem. This Europe seems to have a lot more this strange problem, like foreign immigration, cultural difference, and this these immigrants are raping local women, all this this, how to say, very this outrageous and stuff. But here in Mongolia, we usually this struggle with the lack of money, lack of jobs, and there's basically nothing to eat, something like that. And there's this, how to say, something that this traditionally both shaman and lama follow. It's about this what should this traditional teacher or preacher must do. A traditional preacher or priest, lama, whatever, should advise people. That was the only thing that basically they do. You cannot be someone who is like giving away all the money, giving away all the clothing, and this all this charity and stuff. Traditionally, this man of a spirit, or this man of God does not do such a stuff. Usually such a people advise. So the most right this way to help people was advice, something like that. For example, one can advise how to this plant potatoes, how to grow them, and etc, etc. There's a lot this lots and lots of videos on how to make this stuff, how to basically how to make bricks, how to make pottery, and etc, etc. But unfortunately, this poor people do not have access to internet. Yet there is no this, how to say, teaching this how to say, schools, or these organizations that help people, like how to grow potatoes. So because this Mongolians don't have such a basic knowledge or skills, they live in a poverty, something like that. There is an old Mongolian saying, but it's very stupid saying, that a hero dies within one arrow. A rich man becomes poor within one zod, meaning a snow disaster. This is very, this stupid saying, and yet it is still true. Because of snow disaster, all this problem, people usually lose their livestock. But when you look at how they are, how to say, keeping their livestock, you will be a little bit shocked. There's no stone walls. There's no the stone shelters for the livestock. Livestock is basically in the open. When there's a strong wind, they will be basically blown, and this people are not this caring. They are not caring for their livestock. They are very dependent on the weather. So basically, these people do not even have this knowledge of building some stone walls for their livestock. One can this beach endlessly on internet about this stuff. One can this translate videos like how to make a brick, how to make this how to grow potatoes or stuff. But a common poor people do not have access to internet, so they will never this learn. So maybe this simply giving advice to a people is not a this, how to say, the best thing you can do if you're like a preacher or teacher, something like that. And it seems to be a human nature that this everything goes into some kind of messy shit hole, something like that. For example, there is some strange form system in schools where you choose your teacher. Democracy is great, choosing is great, etc., etc. But sometimes it is better if you do not have any choice. When students choose their teacher, students usually talk with each other. Which teacher is this easygoing? Which teacher can put you good this marks? Which teacher is this easygoing, going parties, or this etc., etc. So people are not choosing the harsh teacher or good teachers and stuff, and people usually go to like easy way, something like that. And when this man and woman, traditional this family sends their children to city to study, the children come here, they this immediately this adopts the this all this fashion, something like that, cosmetics, good clothing, and this warm water, in this all this comfort of the civilization. And after this, they finish the school. When they return to a countryside, looking after this smelly these goats and sheep, and they think this is not a this good life. The good life is in the city, and I must this return there and this somehow find job, etc., etc. But some of them end up this without finding any job, because this time is different. It's pretty hard to find a decent job and pay all this this apartment rent, etc., etc. Sometimes it's better for you for these young people from a countryside to stick to their the ways of their these parents. And you can basically you can make your life comfortable in the countryside, building shelter and such, etc. Well, these things does not this concern my dear viewers who sit behind their computers. Well, about the toast, and you can find this thing on Ichtilgur, the main department store. It's a camel milk. So this is like this horse milk should be alcoholic drink, and it is bottled in a bottle of tiger beer. So it was originally a tiger beer, and I hope they this wash it this very well, then put their this produce. So someone advised me that it should be interesting if you describe how this camel milk tastes like, smell like, something like that. So it smells like this very low. Do you know penicillin? Penicillin like smell, and it tastes like this sour yogurt here in Mongolia, but maybe a little bit this sugary. So it's actually an alcoholic drink, like horse milk, but they do not this put how much alcoholic content it has. One of the things I this preach is that alcohol is okay, but unfortunately Mongolians this use too much alcohol, and they make this babies, and when your system is poisoned with the alcohol, and when you make a baby, you get it's quite possible that you get ugly baby, mentally retarded or disabled children, etc., etc. So this becomes a reason for some these religious organizations that say that alcohol is very bad for you. It's a demonic drink, etc., etc. So yeah, I would like to wish you this coming year a good choice. If you make a good choice, everything should be okay. Yeah. Cheers. Well, that's pretty much for the day, and thanks for watching.